A speech-language pathologist has pinpointed yet another new symptom that Donald Trump appears to be suffering from as part of his ongoing neurological decline. And she noticed this, obviously, in many recent speeches and appearances, but it became undeniable during his speech last week to kick off the Great American State Failure. And here is what she had to say. The licensed speech-language pathologist Hillary Shea said that Trump couldn't say 250th anniversary or the word magnificent. Difficulties that Donald Trump has with saying specific words are consistent with dysarthria and ataxia or apraxia. They can occur after a stroke, they can occur with other brain disorders, and dementia. She said that phenemic paraphrases are when the motor speech required to coordinate words and syllables together are not coordinated appropriately. An example, she said, would be if somebody said teflon instead of telephone, explaining that it's because my sounds got mixed up and that is what's happening a lot of the time with Donald Trump's speech. The brain is having trouble with the coordination of these syllables in order and in connected speech. It's not just one word, because the more syllables that you have, the higher level of motor coordination is required to maintain appropriate speech sound coordination. He does that a lot in this speech, and I do think this is one of the newer symptoms. He has this dysarthria that could be consistent with a TIA, which is a transient ischemic attack, or in other words, a stroke. Of all of the symptoms, of all of the signs, I guess, because symptoms are what the patient experiences, signs are what we can see, that we talk about with Donald Trump or that get talked about in the media, right? The bruising, the ankles, the swelling, the eye swelling, the weird walk, all of that. The one thing that is probably the most important, yet never gets mentioned hardly ever, is what happened last September at the 9/11 memorial. Donald Trump was sitting there, camera rolling, focused solely on him for some reason, but thank goodness it was. And out of nowhere, whole side of his face just slowly starts drooping. We all watched it happen. If you haven't, get on YouTube, obviously, and just type in Trump 9/11 stroke. You'll see it. You can see it happen in real time. And yet, again, people are more focused on, look at his ankles, look at the bruising. No, look at the man having a stroke on camera. That seems to be the most important thing. And of course, strokes affect all of this. They can affect your memory. They can affect, your speech. They can affect your ability to walk. They affect every part of your health. A lot of times, people who have a stroke never fully recover. So, kind of seems like that might be the most important sign that we have ever seen of Donald Trump's failing health. And yet, most of the media honestly never even addresses it. They talked about it that day, and then that was the end of it. But yes, I do think Donald Trump had a stroke, or more likely not a full-blown stroke, but perhaps a mini stroke, and perhaps he's had more. They do sometimes come in clusters, so that seems pretty bad. And if, of course, it is left untreated and preventative measures are not taken, it could lead to a full-blown this is the end of it stroke. Maybe that explains why Donald Trump had 22 specialists treating him at his most recent checkup. I want to take a moment to tell you about a wonderful new book that is out, Be Like Trump by John Evans. And yes, I wrote the afterword for this book. Now, Be Like Trump is a wonderful little story that essentially puts things into a better perspective for Americans. Whether you love Trump, whether you hate Trump, it doesn't matter. This book takes real things Donald Trump has done and shows people what it would be like if Trump had done those horrible things to them personally. Would that change your opinion of him? And that is what a lot of MAGA does need to realize. This book is not an attack on Trump. It is putting his actions into a better perspective for the public. And it also does so in a humorous way, which I absolutely love. The book is available on Amazon. Of course, we will have a link in the description of our videos, so follow that, check it out. It's available both in paperback and Kindle edition. This is a must-read for anyone who, one, may have forgotten some of the horrible things that Donald Trump has done over the years, and two, for anyone who thinks to themselves, yeah, he's done horrible things, but he's this far-off figure, and those things really don't affect me. Read the book, and then tell me after that if you don't think these things affect you.